Honorable Prime Minister Mitsotakis, sehr verehrter Bundeskanzler Merz, das ist das erste Mal, dass ich das sage. Das klingt irgendwie gut. Ich freue mich, dass wir so weit gekommen sind, dass wir das jetzt sagen können. Prime Minister, I'm honored and glad on behalf of the CDU Wirtschaftsrat and as a chairman of the Ludwig Erhard Foundation, having the honor to give a short explanation why we all together are very sure that this award of the Ludwig Erhard Medal is exactly right, having handed out to you. Diesen Abend zu besprechen mit der Ehrung des Ministerpräsidenten von Griechenland ist auch für uns und unsere junge Geschichte der europäischen Integration keine Selbstverständlichkeit. Viele von uns, wenn wir ehrlich sind, haben vor 15 Jahren sehr darüber gestritten, manche haben darüber auch gehadert, die Entscheidung zu treffen, das Vertrauen zu haben in die Bürgerinnen und Bürger von Griechenland, dass sie mit ihren demokratischen Institutionen diese außerordentlich schwierige wirtschaftliche Krise innerhalb der Europäischen Union und vor allen Dingen innerhalb der Eurozone beherrschen können. Es war eine Entscheidung auch der deutschen Bundesregierung, insbesondere auch von Bundeskanzlerin Angela Merkel, dieses Vertrauen zu geben. Und die Zeiten, die darauf folgten, waren in Griechenland nicht einfach. Prime Minister, you people suffered in these days. 25% of the GDP was lost between 2010 and 2015. 25% of the working population was jobless. 50% of the young people were jobless. So the instability on the economic dimension, of course, had consequences also for the stability on the democratic side. Es waren mutige Entscheidungen, für die Sie stehen und die Sie seit 2019 als Ministerpräsident repräsentieren, dafür zu sorgen, dass Griechenland heute selbstbewusst sagen kann, wir sind zurück. Dieses Land, Ihr Land, Herr Ministerpräsident, ist der Spielführer beim wirtschaftlichen Wachstum. Ja, das wächst auch nicht in den Himmel wie nirgends in Europa, aber mit dem letzten Jahr und durchschnittlich mehr als 2% sind Sie vorne dran. Und wir würden davon aktuell träumen. Ihre Schuldenquote sinkt schneller als in jedem anderen europäischen Land. Ja, das ist natürlich auch nötig. Aber ganz ehrlich, vor 15 Jahren in unseren Diskussionen hätten wir gedacht, dass es so ist und hätten wir gar gedacht, das wäre selbstverständlich. Das Haushaltsdefizit wurde und wird abgebaut, Investitionen wachsen, ihre Wachstumsrate kommt nicht aus dem Konsum, sondern aus der Investition, damit aus dem, was für die Zukunft geschieht. Und die Arbeitslosenquote ist insgesamt mehr als halbiert und bei den jungen Menschen noch viel deutlicher zurückgegangen. Wenn man fragt, woran das liegt, da ist es die Steuerpolitik, eine Steuerreform. Da sind es viele Maßnahmen, die das Investitionsklima verbessert haben. Da ist es eine beachtenswerte digitale Verwaltung. Carsten Wildberger, da ist ein Besuch in Griechenland nicht sinnlos, auch um optimistisch zu sein, was dort geschieht. Und wir haben heute in Griechenland einen sehr liberalen Arbeitsmarkt. Noch einmal, wir sollten nicht vergessen, wenn wir heute eine Ehrung an einen Politiker übergeben, dass die Bürgerinnen und Bürger Griechenlands dafür große Opfer gebracht haben. die individuellen Schicksale des Verlustes von Einkommen, Vermögen, Arbeit und Perspektive haben viele junge Menschen zunächst bewogen, das Land zu verlassen und bewegen heute viele junge Menschen wieder in das Land zurückzukommen. Aber wer durch Griechenland fährt und wer sich mit Menschen unterhält, spürt Schicksale, die hinter dem stehen, was die Regierung den Bürgern abverlangt hat. Und das ist ein Teil der politischen Leistung. Und wenn man deshalb fragt, in den kurzen Worten, was sind die Dinge, die dann Ludwig Erhard ins Spiel bringen? Nun, Ludwig Erhard zunächst einmal, das muss man sagen, war ein pragmatischer Politiker. Ich habe von Ihnen gelesen, dass es in Griechenland ja viele auch Karikaturerklärungen gibt und Sie haben das selbst einmal berichtet. Wir haben ein gemeinsames Schicksal, unser beider Väter waren Politiker. Das prägt einen im Leben, gelegentlich mit Chancen und gelegentlich mit Blessuren. Und dieser Journalist erzählte dann sozusagen, also diese Karikatur bildet ab, dass Sie zu Ihrem Vater sagen, ich beginne Fehler zu machen. I start to make mistakes. Und Ihr Vater soll geantwortet haben in der Karikatur, dann beginnst du zu regieren. Start governing. Und in der Übersetzung des Generalsekretärs der CDU Deutschlands heißt das einfach mal machen. Aber es liegt ja an Prinzipien und ich will drei nennen, die Ludwig Erhards Denken und Ihr Denken und derer, die mit Ihnen dies bewirken, auszeichnet. Das Erste, Sie denken vom Einzelnen. Der einzelne Mensch ist der etwas leisten kann, den ich motivieren muss, der mit seinem Willen und seiner Überzeugung etwas voranbringen kann. Und keine Regierung der Welt kann einem Volk Wachstum befehlen, sondern die Menschen müssen das Wachstum wollen. Und die griechischen Bürger wollten es in einer verdammt schwierigen Situation. Und die Politik hat es ihnen ermöglicht, vom Einzelnen zu denken. Das ist die Lehre, mit der Ludwig Erhard 1948 in Deutschland anfing. Und das ist eine wichtige Lehre, die Sie beherzigt haben in der Politik der letzten Jahre in Griechenland. Und das Zweite: Das Zweite, auch das ist, denke ich, auch für uns heute wichtig, Sie, auch Sie in Person, haben den Willen und die Bereitschaft, in Ordnungen zu denken, to think in orders, zu wissen, dass es nicht die Regierung ist, die einen Plan macht, der am Ende die Wirtschaft wachsen lässt, dass es nicht die Regierung ist, die schlauer ist, an welcher Stelle man investiert, dass es nicht die Regierung ist, die die neuesten Innovationen erfindet, sondern dass es die Regierung ist, die einen Rahmen schaffen muss, in dem der Einzelne, der diesen Respekt schon genießt, die Chance haben muss, das sicher zu tun. Er muss sich darauf verlassen können, dass die Ordnung fairen Wettbewerb gibt. Er muss sich darauf verlassen können, dass ein Arbeitsmarkt stabil, aber frei und in seinen unterschiedlichen Formen entfaltungsfähig ist. Er muss sich darauf verlassen können, dass der Staat am Ende Schiedsrichter und nicht Mitspieler auf dem Spielfeld ist. Das ist die Lehre Ludwigs Erhard, das ist soziale Marktwirtschaft. Und auch diese Regel haben Sie sich unterworfen und machen danach Politik in Griechenland. Mit einer absoluten Mehrheit. Da ist das vielleicht noch mal ein bisschen einfacher. Man darf auch in Deutschland noch Träume haben, aber Sie machen es. Und das ist der Erfolg, den wir an dieser Stelle haben. Und als Drittes, und vielleicht ist auch das gar nicht so ganz unvergleichbar, wenn man sich in die Situation Griechenlands vor 15 Jahren versetzt: Sie waren und Sie sind bereit, mutig Risiken einzugehen. Erinnern wir uns an den Namensgeber Ludwig Erhard im Jahr 1948? Das, was er tat, um die Wirtschaft frei zu machen, Preise sich bilden zu lassen, war fast eine Einzelentscheidung. Niemand in seiner unmittelbaren Umgebung, schon gar nicht die Besatzungsmächte, wollten das. Sie hatten Angst, dass die Widerstände der Bevölkerung zu groß werden. Und das war einfach der Generalstreik. Und es war über viele Jahre durchaus fraglich, ob das Konzept der sozialen Marktwirtschaft wirklich all diese Widerstände, diese Schicksale, all diese Ängste von Menschen überstehen könnte, um zur Entwicklung zu kommen. Sie haben dieses gleiche Risiko am Ende auch in Griechenland übernommen. Und Sie sind auch ein Stück ein Beweis dafür, dass Menschen in einem freien Land mit einer Perspektive für die Zukunft auch bereit sind, Zumutungen zu ertragen, hinzunehmen, ohne das demokratische System, das ihnen diese Zumutungen abverlangt, damit in Frage zu stellen. Wir ehren Sie dafür, aber wir können auch davon lernen, Herr Ministerpräsident. Und möglicherweise lernen wir mehr davon, wenn wir Sie kopieren, als nur, wenn wir Sie ehren. Aber es ist eine Leistung, es ist die große Leistung eines Staatsmanns und eines Politikers, diesen Weg zu gehen. Und das ist der Ehrung und der Anerkennung wert. In diesem Sinne, dear Prime Minister, it's a great honor to have the chance to hand over to you the Ludwig Erhard Medal, honoring your work in Greece, honoring your work for Europe, and also honoring your example for us. Thank you very much.
Ich darf die Urkunde verlesen in Anerkennung der Verdienste um die Erhaltung und Weiterentwicklung der sozialen Marktwirtschaft verleiht der Wirtschaftsrat der CDU e.V. Kyriakos Mitsotakis, Ministerpräsident von Griechenland, die Gedenkmünze Ludwig Erhard in Gold, Berlin im Mai 2025.
Well, dear Chancellor, indeed, that sounds very nice. We've got to get used to this. Congratulations once more. Excellencies, distinguished guests, dear friends, what a tremendous honor, and thank you for a truly great speech. And I must tell you that I accept this honor from the Economic Council Germany with deep gratitude, but also with deep humility. And the fact that this honor is presented by a preeminent German institution, I think it's both symbolic and for some unexpected. But it is indeed the reflection not only of the recognition that of the progress that Greece has made, but also of the transformation of the way that our two countries understand each other. And this recognition is not mine alone. It belongs primarily to the Greek people. And as you pointed out, they endured profound hardship, sacrifices, but at the same time, they were bold enough to embrace change, and essentially, they proved to be tremendously resilient, never giving up the promise of a better future. And there was a time, as you pointed out, when Greece was seen, often in the city that we're gathered here today, as Europe's problem child. our ability to reform was doubted, our intentions were questioned, and even our position within the European family was challenged. But today, this country that in Germany was faced with the greatest skepticism is being recognized for its determination, its discipline, its resilience, and its ability to implement difficult reforms. This country, exactly 10 years ago, in July 2015, when we had a referendum where we essentially asked the question whether we should leave or stay in the Eurozone, we found ourselves on the precipice of crashing out of the Eurozone. And yes, I know, and thank you for your honesty, that there were many who thought at the time that this was the most appropriate solution, both for Greece and the Eurozone. And indeed, I don't think many at that time would have placed a bet that 10 years later, Greece would be hailed as a model for its ability to combine fiscal discipline with pro-growth policies. And indeed, I think this has been the secret of our economic success. Our economy has been growing much faster than the Eurozone average. But this growth is primarily driven by investment, foreign but also domestic, no longer by consumption, which was funded by an unsustainable debt. Confidence is returning. I placed a bet at the beginning of my second term that we would return to investment-grade status, and this has happened. And our fiscal house has been put in order. For 2024, our primary surplus was expected to be close to 2%. It ended up being 4.8%. And as you pointed out, our debt as percentage of GDP, which is the most important indicator for the rating agencies and for all the economists looking at the macro condition of the Greek economy, has been coming down at the fastest pace of any OECD country. But the important thing is that this growth is reflected primarily in more jobs. We have created over the past 6 years 500,000 new jobs in Greece, and I consider this to be probably the most important achievement of our economic policies. There was an event a few weeks ago in Berlin, organized by our Greek Employment Agency. It was an interesting event because for the first time we spoke to Greeks who had left the country during the crisis. We brought employers from Greece looking to recruit, and there was a tremendous interest by those young Greeks who were forced to leave the country. They did not do it by choice, they did it by necessity, to return to Greece because they could find good jobs and because they believed fundamentally in the potential of the country. And this is giving us great encouragement to continue with the difficult reforms. And this all, of course, did not happen by accident. Yes, it does help to have an absolute majority in Parliament. I can't hide that. But to be honest, we did get 3 times to 40% in 3 consecutive elections, so I think we sort of deserved this right to govern the country on our own. From the very beginning, we implemented bold reforms. And reforms, I can tell you, are difficult. They're hard. They create political reactions. Some of these reforms are, I think, particularly relevant. I'll come back to this topic very briefly. Digitizing the state, citizens and businesses to be served with dignity, efficiency, and transparency. Reforms means breaking down barriers for entrepreneurs. It means giving, as you said, people the freedom to operate within a well-regulated environment with predictability. Reducing taxes in a way that is fiscally sustainable. Training people for the economy of tomorrow. So reducing taxes, but also tackling tax evasion to bring in more revenue. And at the end of the day, reform is about making the state a partner, not an obstacle to prosperity. Let me talk a little bit about digitization. And I know that this is very high on the Chancellor's agenda. And I think he's absolutely right to do what he has done, to set up a separate ministry for digital transformation. This is what we did in 2019. We now have more than 1 billion digital transactions between citizens, businesses, and the state. So digitization is about efficiency. Who wants to stand in line or be buried under piles of paper? It is also about tackling fraud. It's also about improving productivity. It's also about the future, the tremendous opportunities that AI presents when it comes to boosting productivity and improving the delivery of critical public services. For example, we've rolled out our My Health application, which is essentially a digital personal registry for every Greek citizen paired with our digital prescription system. This has allowed us to tackle overprescription by doctors. So this is a good example of how digital transformation, actually an important reform, helps you address an endemic problem of Greek society. At the same time, we use the data that we collect to drive AI-driven solutions that will improve public health of the general population. I can tell you none of these reforms were easy, but we did pursue them with determination. The big difference, dear Friedrich, was that we made them our national priority. In the past, during the difficult years of the programs, the Troika, as we called the institutions then, came with a reform plan, and we felt that we had to implement these reforms. They were imposed upon us. The big difference is that we ran with a bold reform program that got the support of the Greek people. But these reforms were designed by us, and they're being implemented by us. And we knew that we had to run fast to make up for the lost decade of the crisis. And we won 3 elections, one in 2019 and 2 consecutive elections in 2023, by proving to a skeptical public opinion that bold change can deliver more jobs, it can deliver higher wages, it can deliver more efficient public services and a better future. Let me come back to tax evasion. When tax evasion is tackled by using digital tools, as we have done, the end result is that government revenues surge, because we bring in more money by those who manage to avoid paying taxes. These are difficult reforms because we forced every single owner of small business in Greece to connect their cash registry with a point-of-sale terminal, so we can monitor real-time all the transactions that are taking place in Greece. And we were faced with reaction initially. What is it that you're doing? This is not the way to do business. But now that we bring in additional revenue and we can return this prosperity dividend to people, they realize that these reforms actually work. And if I have one piece of, I wouldn't say advice, but one suggestion is make sure you implement the difficult reforms early on. It will only become more difficult. So I'm going to be very interested in hearing the Chancellor's speech regarding his first 100 days. Jean-Claude Juncker, who was instrumental in saving Greece during the difficult years, he once said that we all know what to do when it comes to reforms. We just don't know how to win elections after we do what we have to do. With all due respect, in the case of Greece, and I'm sure in the case of Germany, he was wrong. You can actually win elections. But of course, these difficult decisions that we had to take also were born out of our failed experiment with populism. In that sense, we were ahead of the curve. We were the first country in 2015 to elect a radical leftist government that ended up teaming up with the extreme right. And it was very clear to the Greek people that populists and demagogues, and you have your fair share of them also in Germany, if I may say, they offer magical solutions But at the end of the day, magical solutions don't improve people's lives. They only leave you flirting dangerously with catastrophe, which is what happened in my country. And so let's not forget this. Let's not forget this lesson. We must not be complacent, because the ghosts of populism are present everywhere in Europe, and the risks are real. But I'm also here to convey this message of hope. In our case, the center-right, held, and it is important that it holds throughout Europe. And I do believe that in well-functioning democracies, you need stable, reasonable governments that try to govern from the center. Thank you for making the reference to Ludwig Erhard as a model of pragmatism. At the end of the day, this is about finding real solutions, not being stuck in our ideological trenches, and offer real solutions to people's problems. So let me again, and again from the bottom of my heart, congratulate your new Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, on a platform of bold reform, designed to unleash the capabilities of the German economy. And even as he was becoming Chancellor, he acted as a leader who is not afraid to break with the past in order to secure a better future. And I think you're reminding us, Friedrich, that leadership is not about clinging to ideology. It's mainly about having the courage to act when the moment demands it. And I really look forward to working together, not just strengthening the Greek-German relationship, but also in finding solutions to our joint European problems. And there are quite a few of those. This relationship, the Greek-German relationship, has been tested in the past. Misunderstandings, mistrust, difficult political choices left our mark on both our societies. But this little beautiful gold medal is maybe the best symbol that these days are behind us. We're here not so much to dwell on the past, but we're here to celebrate what we have achieved, how we've come together, and we're here primarily to talk about the future. And this future is important in the sense that the important decisions that we need to take will be European decisions. We enjoy a relationship of mutual respect and cooperation. We're partners in addressing the big challenges ahead. Defense, security, migration, energy. How are we going to bring down the price of energy? Competitiveness. How are we going to make our companies more competitive? And the lessons of the past have deepened our understanding, have strengthened our cooperation. And in that sense, this journey that we took over the past decade is not just a Greek journey, it's also a European story. It's a proof that reform and solidarity, because we did receive solidarity by Europe in very difficult years, can restore hope and can deliver results. It's a story, I think, worth sharing with other partners, especially at a time when the world around us is shifting. It's shifting economically, geopolitically, technologically. And this urgent need to strengthen European competitiveness in the face of economic and geopolitical disruption, migration pressures, energy volatility, the climate emergency, this is a challenge which I would put probably as a number one priority that we would have when we're going to discuss at the next European Council how we're going to strengthen and support our companies in this changing competitive environment. And this is the time to really drive through reforms we have spoken a lot about at the European Council, but have not acted with a necessary sense of urgency. The Capital Markets Union, savings, what we call now, we rebranded it, we call it Savings and Investments Union. It's probably a good choice because we've been talking about Capital Markets Union for 10 years and it never happened, so we needed a new name. But still, it is an important priority to allow our savings to be channeled to European companies, to your companies that are growing and are looking for equity and financing. How are we going to make the single market properly work? How we are going to negotiate more trade deals with the rest of the world? How are we going to bring down the price of energy for all our European companies? Probably our number one priority in terms of in terms of competitiveness? And what is the role that countries such as Greece, which is producing more than 50% of its electricity from renewables now, a lot of German companies have invested successfully in Greece. What is the role that we can play in terms of designing an energy market that will work for all? Greece is ready to play its part, but we're looking towards Germany to lead. And I think it is important. Let me stress how important it is that you have a stable government with a new leadership, with clear views about the role that Europe can play in addressing all these important challenges. And let me conclude, because we're all very eager to listen to what the Chancellor has to say, by telling you that today was a particularly moving evening for me, because it allowed me to reflect on what was indeed a difficult journey, a journey that for many was unthinkable, but I guess we beat the odds and we defied the skepticism, and we're very happy today to be able to share this story and to invite Greek businesses to look at Greece as an investment destination. So I accept this medal on behalf of the Greek people. I thank you for this recognition, and I congratulate you, Friedrich, and look forward working with you and your new government. Thank you all for your trust and faith in Greece's journey. Thank you very much.